I had a bunch of random smaller questions. One of them, I was talking to an AoE player. She's one of the best female AoE players in the world, actually. So she was very fond of your work and was really happy that we talked. But is it true that unit dying sounds were recorded by dropping a pot off a table? I don't know if this is
in which
AoE 2.
It might be. What happened with AoE 2 is that our sound guys, Stephen Rippey and Kevin, they went to Seattle, and they did the sound there.
What do you mean, Seattle? They just went to a studio or something and
the Microsoft studio.
Oh, okay.
Not only that, they hired a full orchestra, the Seattle Orchestra.
Really?
That's who did the music for it. Yeah, they had a legit full orchestra to do the music for Age of Empires.
That's why their music is so timeless and so good.
Yeah, right? Is that great? And they weren't just doing it all with synthesizers. They had that. They came back and did it with synthesizers. We built a room in Ensemble Studios, a soundproof room with like the rubber styrofoam cones coming out of the wall, so it didn't have any sound. And they'd play music in there. We'd have voice actors come in to do the voices. I remember we had one guy come in and say, "Hey, we need a guy to do a Welsh accent or a Gaelic accent because we need the Celt guy." Who brought him and says, "Can you do any others?" And he says, "I can do a Mongolian accent." He said,
"No way!"
From heaven, because of course you can't find a Mongolian guy, right?
Right. I just assumed you guys got like bored and started experimenting, and like the developers had some voiceover work and.
No, we didn't have a guy that spoke Nahuatl, but we had a professor tell us how to pronounce these Nahuatl words.
Wow.
For the Aztecs.
Yeah.
So we were doing everything, we were, it was so professional compared to id Software, which was great, genius. That was fire in a pan, right? But like an example, in id Software, when they did Wolfenstein 3D, which I was not there for, that was all like John Romero and those guys like saying the German voices. And they were so garbled that when I went to Germany, they asked me what the SS guys were saying when they got killed. We can't understand it. I said, he's saying Schutzstaffel, right? SS. And they go, really? Because we couldn't understand it at all. The only thing they could understand from Germans was mein Leben when they get
yeah.
Right? But we did it all right. In one thing we did in Age of Empires 2 that was, I think, kind of amusing is that for some reason, and this is probably because Age of Empires 1, no one spoke English.
Right.
So in Age 2, we didn't want them to speak English because it sounded wrong and silly to us to have someone speak English. So the French speak French, Japanese speak Japanese, Germans speak Teutonic Knights speak German, but the Englishmen, the English can't speak English. So we gave them Old English. So they say things like choppin',
Yeah.
Right? Because it just sounded wrong to us. But
it would seem out of place almost, right? It would seem out of place.
To us, it seemed out of place. But I suppose if you're an Arab playing a Saracen, they just speak Arabic.
Wouldn't notice.
You wouldn't know that we were offended by a guy speaking English, but we were.
That's pretty funny. Flying Storm Dog was a puppy. Was to commemorate a puppy that was rescued by one of the developers during a thunderstorm? Apologies for this commercial interruption. If you love Sandy like I do, please check out his YouTube channel. I will leave a link down below. And if you love board games, please check out petersengames.com.
Was that in Age 2?
This is Age 2. Yeah, these are Age 2 things.
So here's the deal with the cheats in all the Age games. And for that matter, in Doom and every company I've ever worked for.
Okay.
What happens is that early on, the designers go to the programmers and say, we need to be able to clip through walls. We need to be able to not be killed. We need to be able to the things we needed for testing.
Right.
And then the programmers would put those in for us.
So you can push the game to its limits or whatever to test whatever you need to.
If I needed to skip through a bunch of battles to go somewhere, I could just do it, right?
I gotcha. Okay.
My guys can't be killed, so I don't have to worry about that.
Sure.
Because I'm doing testing, okay? So then, okay, one of the things that's true about a game is that the programmers are working from the start of the project to the very end, either designing it or fixing bugs. The designers have a little less to do near the very end of a project. We still have stuff to do. There's slightly less than the programmers. So usually what we do is we're planning for the next project so that by the time everyone else is off the previous game, they can jump right onto the Conquerors or whatever we're doing, right? So designers are doing the next project, but the artists can't go on to the next project, and their stuff is done. They don't really have bugs like programmers do. So the artists are just basically they're doing two things. They're sitting around playtesting the game, looking for being extra playtesters. Okay, maybe doing some concept art for the next game, and thinking up cheats.
What a fun role switch for them that is.
So they go in there and say, hey, so I'm from Canada, so I've made the laser bear with the Canadian flag on it,
Right.
and we want to put it in the game. Or the guy says, I got my car. Let's put my car in the game.
Right.
Right, and that's where the car came from. And so everyone is putting in like their like, and then they did the art for it. It's ready to go. Just give me a cheat code, and the programmer can do a cheat code like that in like 30 seconds. He goes,
Sure.
okay, type in laser bear, and you'll have it. And he goes,
That's
okay,
awesome.
got it. And then the are actually the ones we had the database to assign stats to these things. So we didn't care because we weren't ever going to use these.
Sure.
So we thought, what do you want it to be like? And he said, we want to do 1 billion damage to everything with 100. And we'd say, sure, whatever. And we put it in. So that's where all those wacky units came from.
Okay.
They were literally all from a joke or something, and 99% of them are from artists.
That's awesome. That's up because then you're in the
probably-
game now forever. You're timeless.
I think that's the puppy put in the storm dog.
Yeah.
The guy from Canada put in the laser bear.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that had Scott Winsett had the car. He put in his car. He did stock car racing, right? He wanted to have his car. So all those things are from there. I think the giant bust of Washington from Age 3. I
Okay.
think that was actually from Deathstrom
Okay. Interesting.
because he wanted to have a giant head of Washington do things.
That's so cool. You're basically now in this game with your own little idea, and it's you can tell your kids or grandkids like, hey, like type this word in, see what happens. Like I came up with
Well, I
that.
don't know any words.
Well, maybe maybe not you, but
Well, in fact, one of the most common things I'd be asked all the time is what are the cheat codes? And I always gave the same answer, which is I'm a designer. I don't give out cheat codes.
right. Don't
You're
ruin my
trying to-
product.
I want you to play the game the way we designed it. So no cheat code for you. If you find it on your own, that's fine, but I'm not going to help. So I never did.
But there's some cheat codes that really will make a game, add a whole new dimension to a game. There's I believe one for AoE 2 that basically allows you to do all of your upgrades endlessly. So the chopping wood 10% upgrade, you can keep doing it, or I don't know, +1 range on your archers.
The original Age 2, I don't remember that one. It could be. I didn't know every.
This is from the I don't know if this was in the original one, but it's definitely in the definitive edition.
I know we had a thing. You push a button, and everything upgrade to the max.
That I do know. That was from the original, probably, right?
Because the original one, it seems to be hard to have a thing that upgraded you constantly. Maybe you could do it. Because usually what would because I know how the database works to do the upgrades because I wrote that entire database, and there's probably a way to do it, but offhand I can't think of it. But of course, it's also 20 years ago. Maybe I would have known then.